Investors in Nigeria want options, they want variety, they want higher returns. The fintech industry in Nigeria has come forward with a growing number of platforms accessible via smartphone apps that provide access to investments beyond the shores of Africa's largest economy. But what about the risks? What about the need to be financially literate and properly informed about market conditions? Joining me to answer these questions and more are the founders of three of those fintech platforms: Tosin Osibodu, CEO of Chaka, Urum, who is the founder and CEO of RiceVest, and Oluwatomi Solanke, co-founder and CEO of Trove. Gentlemen, good evening. You're welcome. Tosin, I'm going to start with you. Is there a priority or importance in Nigerians being able to invest outside Nigeria, or was this just a business opportunity for the fintech space to capitalize on?
There's absolutely a need for this. This is about equality, right? So if you're an investor and you're a citizen of most countries in the world, especially in the West, you have access to a vast array of investment options within your market, outside your markets, even in Nigerian markets. So you want to take advantage of the Euro bonds, one of the best rates we had last year. You know, as an American, as a UK citizen, you could, as a German, you could. Well, when you look at the compound effects of that, right, what chance does a Nigerian have to take advantage of all these opportunities in other markets? So what we're all doing here is enabling that equity, making it as easy so that you can access a wide array of opportunities compared to just like if you were in the US or UK citizen. When you compound that over time, it means your money can grow at rates that actually make sense compared with your peers abroad. You're not at a disadvantage. So I think this is absolutely important, just so that we're on the same footing as global citizens when it comes to investments. So it's not really just about the business opportunity. It's really more about equalizing the markets, I think.
All right. Thank you for that, Tosin. All right, Oluwatomi, I'm going to come to you. What steps have players in the space taken to ensure funds invested by Nigerians overseas are secure?
A couple of things, actually. So the first thing is partner with reputable institutions. You really have to make sure that the people that, power the back-end processes or the transactions are actually credible institutions. So that's the first thing. The second thing is with regards to the technology, actually. So you're doing things like encrypting people's data or data of the users, and you're just actually providing a platform that's super stable. And then in places like the US, you have things like insurance, Civic Insurance, which covers a bunch of the brokerage apps that currently exist today, which is insurance to the tune of $500,000 US, including up to 215 claims for cash. So pretty much all those three measures around insurance, around making sure the technology is super stable, and around partnering with super reliable entities. A mix of all of that should give or gives the average retail investor, the average Joe, some level of confidence.
All right, thank you for that, Tomi. Eke, I'll come to you now. How much responsibility do fintech companies that facilitate these investments have in educating Nigerians about the risks involved in investing in foreign securities?
Oh, yeah. So we have a very strong responsibility because we know that our market, financial education, is not very common. I think that the way we've approached that as a company, and I think my competitors also do something similar, is that we offer education to our users. We offer a community. We offer access for them to ask questions. And we do a lot of guidance just to teach people. It's not just about the investments that we offer. It's also about the ability for you to learn how investments work, learn how different financial instruments work, and take your time to really develop that know-how. And so another thing that we do is also we categorize some of these investments according to risk level, so that there's a level of understanding before you make any decision that, oh, this is what I'm going for, these are what the potential risks are, and this is where I can go if I have further questions. So that's I think how, and I can speak for the other two to say that that's how all of us have really approached that. We combine products and education.
All right, fantastic. Okay, thank you for that. Tosin, let me come back to you. Following up on the prior question, to invest in equity markets, one is advised to contact a financial advisor. Are fintech players with these platforms for overseas investment reminding users of this and or providing a link to financial advisors that can give them the advice they need?
Absolutely, and I think that's one thing that's very fortunate about this space is that the people in it are reputable people and are people who have qualifications to be here. Like, I'm a certified stockbroker, my co-founder is a wealth manager. Everyone knows AK and Tomi as well. So, you know, by being people who also are ourselves credible in the space, we get to direct people to where they need to go. And for example, you know, we have webinars where people ask a lot of questions, and we're able to direct them without telling them what exactly to buy. So as a customer, as an investor, the typical person coming in wants to know exactly what to buy, but to answer that question, you've got to ask them certain questions about that person's risk appetite, about that person's investment experience, about what they're looking at in terms of their goals. When that whole picture is got, then you can actually give a decent financial advice. You know, watching Bloomberg or CNN still doesn't qualify as being well informed. It's still very important to take your own personal situation into account. So I think that's a very good question. It's very important that you take your situation into account. And when you come to all our platforms, that, you know, that's something that we're going to help you get invested with that in mind.
All right, thank you for that, Tosin. All right, so this next question, I'm going to take it around the panel. Starting with you, Tomi, do you anticipate more competition in this space?
Definitely. I think we've been hearing, you know, people trying to do this or experiment with, you know, things within the space. So whether it's around, you know, financial advisory type platforms, or whether it's around like core brokerage type platforms, or whether it's, you know, similar to what we already do today, which is, you know, investing in, you know, global financial markets. I hear conversations here and there, and, you know, definitely I think, you know, over time you see people continue to try to get into the space. I know about a year ago we were the first in the space, and then, you know, I think we're about 4 in the space right now, and then I expect to see something similar play itself out over the next, you know, 9 to 12 months.
All right, Eke, let me come to you. Thank you for that, Tomi. Eke, do you welcome more competition in the space?
Yeah, absolutely. And the reason for that is simple. So if you look at the market, we're just really at the beginning stages, and the need for this, the opportunity, and the amount of people who really need access to this investment are in the millions. So there's a lot of room for a lot of players, and we tend to learn from each other. I learn from the guys, I learn from Tomi, I learn from Tosin, and we learn to become better just because you see what other people are doing. So absolutely, I do welcome more players.
Okay, fantastic. All right, I'm going to throw this as well to all of you. Tosin, back to you. Do you think more competition in this space will lead to a reduction in transaction fees?
Yeah, so I actually look at competition a little bit differently, which is there are a bunch of potential competitors and collaborators, but the market's open for a lot of people. So I think transaction pricing may go down, but it's already pretty low. You know, when you look across all platforms, people don't charge for wire costs like they do in other countries. There are no withdrawal fees, no account management fees, no crazy bid-ask spreads. So I think the market's already pretty competitive from a pricing point of view. I think just over time, with more people being enabled, there can be more value on the table for more people. So I think as long as there's value, there's going to be room for more players to come in or for more people to offer services. But I don't anticipate a crazy like price war or anything.
Okay, thank you for that, Tosin. Tomi, same question for you as far as transaction fees. Do you see more competition reducing them? How do you see it?
So I actually share Tosin's sentiments quite a bit. So, you know, definitely the prices that are being charged by a lot of the platforms today are at like rock bottom, right? And what I mean by that is, you know, lots of things are factored into those costs and into those prices. Definitely, there'll be people that feel like they can step into the space and want to, you know, go into that race to zero type scenario situation. But I think at the end of the day, it's a case of value and like what you bring to the table. And then I think there's a consolidation right now with regards to like, how people are charging. I do not think it's, profitable to, go to zero. The climbs are quite different, the infrastructure, the markets here in Nigeria, as opposed to, the US or any of the other established markets. They're actually quite different. So it's sensible not to do that. And I don't anticipate, any savvy, business person to try to do that.
All right, Eke, the same question for you. Do you anticipate prices coming down if there's more competition? Transaction fees.
So I think the two gentlemen that spoke before me, they do have it right. Our market is price sensitive already, and because we're using technology, we've already priced it for like as low as we could possibly go. So there is a cost. There's a minimum threshold when you're trying to combine two different markets and move both knowledge, expertise, and technology to connect both of them. There is always a cost that we cannot fall below. So anybody that basically tries to go below that threshold will probably drive themselves out of business. And so we don't compete on price. I think most of what we do compete on is value, is building that connection and making sure that our users are getting the best services that we can offer at the prices that we can. So having more players in this space will not necessarily lead to further price reduction.
Okay, thank you. Now, next up, I want to ask you folks about challenges that you face. So we've got a break coming up really quickly. So just want to remind our viewers that we're talking about the fintech space and providing a platform for you to be able to invest overseas, the issue of fees, of safety, of financial literacy. We're talking to Tosin Osibodu, CEO at Chaka, talking to Oluwatomi Solanke, the CEO, co-founder at Trove Finance, and of course, Eke Urum, the founder and CEO at Rice Vest. So up next, we're going to be talking about the challenges and let me just put the question now, but on the back of the break, they'll answer, each of them will answer it. What challenges, if any, are you facing in the operations of your platforms, and how do you think they can be overcome? So we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with our panel, and we'll start off with the challenges they're facing and how they think they can overcome them. Global Business Report here on Arise News, talking tech and fintech. Welcome back to the Global Business Report on Arise News. We're talking fintech and investing overseas from the comfort of your smartphone, and everything is associated with that. We've got three founders with us. Tosin Osibodu, who is the CEO at Chaka. We've got Eke Urum, who is the founder and CEO at Rice Vest. And in the studio with me here, Oluwatomi Solanke, the co-founder and CEO at Trove Finance. So, gentlemen, Tosin, I'll come back to you now. I want to ask all of you, what challenges, if any, that you're facing in the operation of your platforms and how you think you can overcome them. Tosin.
Yeah, I think I can speak to this a little bit, which is, in general, bridging the gap of trust as well as knowledge for users is very important. And that's something that we're all invested in doing. That's just required, and it's a responsibility that we have. Besides that, just dealing with growth, and that's just normal to any company, and recruiting the right people. It's the service we offer is one where the knowledge of the people that you work with and that you work as a team with is just so crucial to be able to do it really well. So getting the right people who are passionate about this, who can buy into this long term, and dealing with growth as it comes in this kind of context, that's been the most challenging, but it's also really fun and rewarding.
All right, thank you for that, Tosi. All right, Tomi, same question for you. The challenges you've been facing, and I guess how you can overcome them.
So for me, the biggest challenge right now is around macroeconomic issues. So macro issues, basically. So you have things like, the unstable nature of the, NGN to USD pair. That's the Nigerian naira to the US dollar. And so that volatility, to some extent, affects, the way people consume this product, right? Then the second thing would be, the inflation and all the other things. But I think, like, in spite of all of that, the inflation and, devaluation of the naira and all of that stuff. But in spite of all of this, it still also presents, like, some opportunities. But I won't throw it out as, not being a challenge in itself. And the second thing is, talent, right? So sourcing for, people that can build a product that can compete, at, like, on the global level. So you have, products in the US, products in the UK that actually have stood the test of time. And those markets, people have been familiar, trading, and apps have existed to do similar stuff, for a longer time period. And so it's talent for me, and also macro issues, like trying to balance everything together. And also what Tosin said, rightfully said, the knowledge gap. So a lot of people don't understand equities. And then, trying to water down, the concept of investing, the concept of, all basic investment terminologies, and all of that, and communicating that in the most apt and concise manner, is, something that I think every other day we're trying to, get better at.
All right, thank you, Oluwatomi. Same question to you as well.
Yeah, so in addition to what they've already said, there's two main factors that for us we've dealt with as a challenge. First is when you're doing something like this online, right, over the internet, there is that trust gap. We're trying to tell people, hey, what we're doing just because it's in your phone or it's in a smartphone or it's over the internet does not make it any less tangible or does not make it any less valuable than if you had a physical place to go do it. And so trying to build that trust with our user base, trying to engage also, regulators have actually been very friendly. We've seen very friendly response from regulators in trying to make sure that they create structures that account for the fact that, hey, we're just starting this newly and it's something that is targeted to help Nigerians. And so how can we help you build less expensive and less costly structures to get started and then grow as the industry grows. So those are the two main challenges. In addition to talent is a big one because you're playing in markets where a lot of people on the Nigerian side maybe don't have as much exposure to the global markets that we're connecting people to. And then our partners on the global side maybe don't understand all the challenges and context of Nigerian users. And so trying to find ways to accommodate those two stakeholders and trying to build a product that will work for both ends is one of the tougher things that we have to deal with. But like my gentleman friends have said, it's part of the challenges of doing what we're doing. We're learning as we go along and doing things better and improving at it. And so it's worked out so far. Some of it has been at it for over a year now. And so we don't see any problems in learning and continuing to improve as we go along in the future.
Excellent stuff. All right, we've only got a few minutes left. If you can, I just want to ask, there's been a lot of focus on investing in U.S. securities, but can your platforms also be gateways to African markets, Kenya, South Africa, I don't know, Angola? Are there any challenges there? Or, Tosin, let me come back to you with this question if you can, in about a minute or so.
Yeah, this is actually, for us, the motivation for starting wasn't the US. It was about uniting African capital markets. You look at our stock exchanges and they're all doing pretty well, but why can't they be one exchange? The liquidity and network effect benefits to that. We think over time, African markets will in some ways unite. It's a better marketing front for the rest of the world. So we want to play our part in making that a reality. And we think, having on the same platform global capital or global access is only going to help accelerate that. So absolutely, this is something that we're very much interested in. It's part of a founding mission to be able to help unite African capital markets. All
right, Tosin, thank you. Tomi, same question to you, if you can, in a minute or so. African markets, a gateway there as well through your platforms.
Yeah, so it's a similar story. I think the bigger opportunity is in creating technology that unites the continent. So you have fragmented, the market is heavily fragmented. So you have people, in the JSE trading, you have the NSE, you have the EGX. And, these are all major markets in themselves. The JSE, I think market cap of close to $1 trillion. The EGX, Nigeria, I think it pales in comparison to that. I think somewhere around 40 billion. But then we think there's a bigger opportunity to actually, cross-connect all these different exchanges across the continent. And yeah, it's an interesting opportunity that we're looking to explore and we're willing to explore. So I think yeah, definitely outside of the US, there's also a very, very, nascent and big market and opportunity here in Africa.
All right, thank you, Tomi. Okay, Eke, same question to you.
Yeah, so in our case, we're a wealth management product more so than a brokerage. And so we basically look at, all right, where are other users and the problems that we're tackling. They are pretty continent-wide. So it's very obvious that at some point, if everything goes well, we're going to branch into other African countries. And the only hurdles are what is it going to cost and how much regulatory compliance and access can that we have to take on to solve that problem. But yes, we have our eyes on going into other African countries. Absolutely.
All right, well, we're wrapping up now. Eke, let me stick with you, and I'll still go around. Has COVID-19 affected your business in any way? If you can, briefly, 30 seconds or so.
So yes, it's affected everyone. On some side, there's the positive side, which is that people understand how doing business over the internet can be helpful. On the other side, is more anxious about the future, and so it's really challenging to make long-term investments. So it's affecting us on both ends, and we continue to navigate that. And it's been successful so far, but we hope that we can continue to be successful going forward.
Thank you. Tosin, briefly, if you can, has COVID-19 affected things? Very briefly.
Sure. It was an opportunity to streamline. We had to adapt quicker than most once it kicked off. And obviously managing a team in this kind of atmosphere is just very important in terms of headspace, what you're thinking about beyond just profits and operating a business. You're thinking about people's health. So we're just hoping for a swift recovery without more casualties. But it's been an opportunity to get more efficient and drive more digital transformation in terms of how we do business across the whole cycle.
Thank you, Tomi. All right, thank you, Tosin. Tomi, we'll wrap up with you real quick. If COVID-19 has affected your operations,
I wouldn't say necessarily. I think it has beamed the spotlight on how important it is for people to plan for the future. A lot of people have been out of jobs. A lot of people are cutting salaries, and then people are actively thinking about how to prepare better or better prepare for the future, right? So I wouldn't say it's been absolutely bad. I think it's been positive. It has channeled minds towards the right direction, and people are actively thinking about alternatives that exist around investing and growing their capital and safeguarding and securing their future.
Excellent stuff. Look, my thanks to you all. Oluwatomi Solanke, co-founder and CEO at Trove Finance, Tosin Osibodu, CEO at Chaka, and Eke Urum, founder, CEO at RiceVest. Great conversation. I have to have you guys back. Really appreciate your time.